you have these guys that are 20 miles apart, and I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but I know what they should be looking for. And they should be looking for a bulge in the water that protrudes to um, cut their laser off, right?
Yeah, like
Right.
if the Earth is a globe, gravity is pulling all the water down on the Earth, so therefore
Right.
water
And
should
the
be
sides would be
curving.
further down. Right. And so I was proving this to this guy earlier that like um you can do this with surface tension in a swimming pool, a very large swimming pool, a cup, anything. And if you put too much water into the pool, it'll bubble around over the pool. It'll be higher in the middle. But as soon as you add any kind of turbulence in the water, that bubble will, in essence, if you had a beach on the side of the pool, the water would go up on the beach and then move back and forth. Um, and then if you were to shoot a laser over that, you would get a flat surface. And then as soon as you stop the turbulence, um, assuming that the beach was slanted, it would go back to its original state as a bubble. Um, and in this case, if you're expecting a bubble and the water is not still, it's not. If the water's moving, you're never gonna get that bubble. I mean, I don't know how large you could scale up your test. I don't know. We don't have the money to build a 20-mile swimming pool, but
How much
if you
curvature do you think is over 20 miles?
over 20 miles, I'd probably say it would have to be several meters, probably 10 meters.
Probably more than that.
Yeah. But nevertheless, no matter how
Yeah.
much coverage you have in any kind of, uh,
Do you know the height of the laser in that video?
yeah, 5 feet.
5 feet. So check this out. I'm gonna go to Earth curve. I'm gonna Google Earth curve calculator. They actually have these out there.
Right. I get what you're saying, but you're never going to get a water that basically, as soon as you have any kind of turbulence in the water is not going to follow gravity's laws because it's not being pulled on in the center as far as that's concerned. The water is being moved by other forces out and away from what gravity is wanting it to do. That's why we have
All right, brother. Um, let's do metric. 60 meters.
yeah,
That's how much curve there is over 20 miles with a
60
with
meters. Yeah.
so if you got a laser 5 feet high and you shoot it over 20 miles of water, at the
Yeah.
other end, the laser should be 60 meters above your head,
Okay.
198 feet.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is no matter how high that would be, as soon as you add any kind of uh turbulence in the water, it will pull that down and away from where it needs to be at. I'm telling you, any kind of um swimming pool that you can go to and create a scenario where there's no wind, there's no fishes in the water, you can make a curve in that swimming pool, no matter how big it is.
Yeah, but
And,
you
and
can't make 198 feet of.
So, Deck, are you talking about like the surface tension, like the image I posted?
I'm saying I'm saying any pool that you make that does not have um, any turbulence in the water, no matter how big it is, you can make a curve in it. It is
Well,
possible to make a
look
curve.
at the image that Matthew Learns put in the side chat. It bulges up, but it's still flat on top.
Yeah,
Right. What
the
I'm saying
cause
is,
of the bulge is not what you think it is, right? It's not gravity.
it is gravity.
Yeah, so it's surface tension in that case, or if it's a meniscus, it can go the
Well,
other way. But
what I'm saying is, if it
those
didn't,
effects are only a couple millimeters. Like even in a
it,
swimming pool, it would be like 2 millimeters higher.
right,
Yeah, surface
exactly,
tension forms due to intermolecular forces, not gravity.
right. I understand that, but the
I,
reason
I mean, I
it
get your reasoning behind it, but there's not enough surface tension out there to create 198 feet um of matter of fact. Let me lower this down to 0. You have to do the entire 266 feet of surface tension. There's no way that it would ever bulge that much over 20 miles.
Yeah, I don't see that actually bulging either like that.
no, no,
There might be some incremental
I'm not
amount,
saying,
but for all we know, it could be concave bulging, right?
I'm not saying that it will be surface tension. I'm saying in an example like surface tension where it is bulging out, um,
And I get your reasoning behind it,
any
but
kind of any kind of
you're
turmoil that you put into that cup, it's gonna break that roundedness of it.
your
And
reasoning is based on, as a child you were taught the earth is too big to see the curve. It looks flat but it's curving. And then you never questioned it ever again. So now you're trying to reason
no,
without
I'm saying it's
actual
not curving.
evidence.
I'm saying it's not curving. Not
Oh, it's
that
not
not that
curving?
lake. Not that lake.
It has to curve.
If it is curving, it's so minuscule you could not see it. But if the water was not moving, there was no wind, there was no fishes, it would be curving a lot more than is in that video.
It has to curve, brother.
It doesn't.
It does.
Look, what I'm saying is if you take a surface tension and create a bubble similar to what a bulge would be in on Earth, in that should be in a pond. There should be. And
There
you
isn't.
create any kind of turbulence in that surface tension, it will break and make the bubble flat.
Let me ask you this. If you have a pond and then you add more water to it, what's going to happen?
It'll create a bubble.
It'll just push outward more because
No,
water will seek the lowest part and then it'll spread out within its container.
right, I understand that. But you will still create a larger surface tension bubble than what's in a cup.
No, it'll just continue to get higher and spread out.
No,
It's not like
you would have
there's
surface
not a
tension.
vertical wall on a lake like in a swimming pool.
Yeah, right.
It's just like a beach. Like the water is
Mhm.
just going to continue to go further and further up the shoreline.
Right. But you're still gonna have a certain amount of surface tension in a lake or anything that was not moving. It's just gonna be less
No,
it'll
it's
be
going to be
less than
flat.
a straight wall.
It's just like as you add more water, the water's going to rise and it's going to spread out further across the shoreline.
No, you
It's
will
going to
have
go
surface
further up the
tension
shoreline.
any size of amount of water, you will have surface tension. You could do it
Yeah,
with a cooler, you could do it with a swimming
if
pool,
you
you could
have
do
a
it in a
vertical
Yes,
wall with
yes,
nothing behind it.
yes. Well, even if you made a slanted cup, you can make a slanted cup, you would still get surface tension.
Okay, so if I
Not as
flooded the whole
much,
earth,
not as much.
then the earth would be a ball then?
Yes.
Retarded. Water should be curving already right now, and it's not.
Right, because you have turbulence in the water.
There's no turbulence. It rained and the fucking ground is still.
What I'm saying is, in that cup, if you barely move the water in that cup, it'll break that bubble.
Yeah. Nobody's
I mean,
moving
barely.
the lake bed.
It
Nobody's
is.
moving Salt
The
Lake.
water is moving.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It is. All those fish in
Brother.
there, any kind of movement in there. Of course, it would need more for a lake than
Okay, so then water's flat and earth is flat. All the oceans are flat too.
no. The ocean is a different scenario.
No, the turbulence is breaking the water, bro. It can't
No, no.
bubble.
Well, the ocean is a different scenario.
No, 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 no. I'm going by exactly what you said.
No,
Turbulence
no, no.
is breaking the
What I,
water.
it has similar
All those
properties.
sharks and whales, and I mean,
It has
hell,
similar.
whales communicate with each other from 400 miles away. That's impossible if the Earth's the ball too.
What I would suggest is, if it would be possible, I would do this in the ocean and not in a lake, because it's a different scenario. That's what I'm trying to say. If this test could be done in the ocean, I would 100% agree with it.
Done
But
it in the
as
ocean.
I was
Would
saying
you like
is,
to see an example of that? Someone show him the black swan or maybe the turbines. Let's see if I can find those. There's DJ when we meet.
Yeah, I got it.
what you also have to remember though in the ocean is you cannot get close enough to the water to measure it correctly. That's another issue.
What are you talking about?
Like any variable in a swimming pool that the largest swimming pool on Earth, if there is curvature, you would be
Yeah.
um it would be
Here's a
possible.
PhD in optics. He's looking at a wind farm off the coast of England. Um, makes a 14-mile observation, flat as can be. You want to talk about
What
turbulence?
better expert could you hope for?
I know, right? A PhD. Here's a guy that was looking at over a lake. It was frozen, and he measured out his markers over a lake using his odometer. All documented. Let's see. Did y'all show him the FE core laser test?
I
Oh,
haven't.
because he wants ocean measurements. So I think the one you posted first is perfect. That's in the ocean, the wind farm.
Yeah, that Rampion wind farm observation just blows the globe out of the water. It's better than the black swan at the oil rigs, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Anyway, what I'm trying
take
to
some
say is
time and have a look
what
at
I'm trying
that
what I'm trying to
John
say
D
is
video.
if you were to take a swimming pool and make a bulge, like a surface tension bulge in it, make a turbulence in the swimming pool, the water would wash up onto the sides of a swimming pool, make like a wave like you would have in like on a beach. Just imagine the side of the pool is like a beach. And then in the center of the swimming pool, the water would point up like a point in the center of it, and then go back and forth, just like the ocean does, just like a lake does. Any type of water, the water concentrates its forces in the center of it, not the sides of it, the center.
It's not true.
It
That's
goes
not
back and forth.
hydrostatic equilibrium and pressure is perpendicular to the surface outward against the container.
Right, but we're talking about a a circular, like the problem is
A beach is the
lakes,
container, bro.
everything, the ocean. Yeah,
Right. So the container forces back in with the same pressure that it's forcing outward.
yeah. Okay, it's like this. You have if you throw water up a hill, it's not going to go down for a little bit. It's going to keep moving up the hill. And what I'm saying is like the turbulence that you have in the ocean is constantly pushing it up that hill. So gravity is never getting a chance to move it down the other way where it needs to be. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Like an assumption of what we should see in the ocean in a spherical Earth would be that the ocean is hundreds of miles up in the air, right? In the center of it. There's a massive bulge in the ocean. Maybe not hundreds of miles, but very high up in the air.
What?
The bulge of the ocean you should be able to notice it, right? Like, or in a pond or in a lake, you should be able to notice a bulge in the center of it.
I
But any
I don't think no. No, like there are salt flats you can go to. Okay, and when they get rained upon, these salt flats, some of them are like hundreds of square kilometers. They form a perfect flat mirrored surface. Tourists
Well,
go
you
there
can't.
all the time and
Yeah,
take
but
video and pictures.
you can't look at land. Land. That's why people look at water.
No, it's a salt flat. It's full of water. That's the thing. It's maybe like a centimeter high of water, perfectly smooth like a glass surface of salt, and it's flat for hundreds of square kilometers.
Yeah, but the issue with that is, you don't know how far it is away from Earth's center. That's why flat earthers don't use Earth as an example.
What do
They
you
use
mean we
water.
don't know how far away? Listen, Earth curves at an average rate of 8 inches per mile squared. Okay,
Yes,
and the
but
average
land does not
deviation
follow
along
that.
the semi-major and semi-minor axes is like, was it 1/3 of 1% of a perfect ellipsoid?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this salt flat. If someone would have gone out
Spheroid
there
rather.
with a bulldozer and dumped dirt out and made it 8 inches, then you would be like, oh, well, it's 8 inches. You can't follow land. That's why people use water.
That's what I'm talking about. Water covering a salt flat is flat. It's not curving.
Yeah, but you can cover any piece of land in water.
So gravity's claimed to provide an equipotential where at every point along the surface of a globe, gravity is pulling downward. So there's a radial, or pushing downward, radially inward to a common center of mass. So if you're on a globe, you take a level, a bubble level, you can walk around and hold it level, and you could walk around the ball and it's always going to stay level if you're on a globe. What needs to be measured is that deviation, the deviation from a tangent to the ball, and a rotation, the tangent rotation from point A to point B
Right.
around the ball. Now, nobody's able to measure that. We tried with lasers.
What I'm
It's
saying
flat.
is there's no way for it to create a bubble if there's turbulence in the water. There's no way for it to rise like it should.
What do you mean? Why should any body of water rise in the middle?
That's what you're trying to prove, that it can't do that. That's what the
No,
video's
we're
about.
trying to measure drop over distance.
No, not drop over. You're trying to see the bulge in the water that comes up from a lake.
No, no. What should be happening is at the destination of that laser, the laser should be 198 feet above your head. It's not about seeing the bulge. The
No, because
laser
the
shouldn't be
lake
hitting
is
the target.
flat. The lake is flat though.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Well, if you're pointing a laser over something flat, then how are you going to get change?
Where's the globe
Water
then
should
if
be
it's flat?
curving.
No, the
How many
ocean,
yeah, how
it's
many
not
flat
curving. That's what I'm saying. You
how
either
many
need to see
flat
the curve
swaths
in the
are there
water,
on the surface of a ball deck?
brother. You're trying to see the curve in the ocean. You're not trying to see the change in height on land,
I'm
right?
still talking about, at what point did I talk about land?
Well, he was saying that it's supposed to be so many meters over your head, and that's impossible because you're shooting a laser straight over a flat piece of water.
Yeah,
And I'm, and
because
I'm
Earth is
saying to
not
you,
curving.
Gravity
the
curves the land.
reason the water is not curving is because it has turbulence. If it was curving it should be on a round Earth.
FE Core
You
shot
even
a
see,
laser over a frozen lake, dude. 40 kilometers.
yeah, it'll be flat, perfectly. A lake will be
Exactly.
perfectly
It
flat.
was.
Yes.
Professor Dr. John D took his high-end optics and was able to zoom into the base of windmills 12 kilometers away from his position out in the ocean.
Yeah. Well, you could see a lot more than you can at least see a lot further than that.
We've taken measurements over the Salton Sea using mirror flashes. We've taken measurements over at Lake Tahoe. We've taken measurements at Lake IJssel in the Netherlands.
They're all going to be flat.
It's all bodies of water. We've done
Yeah.
measurements up and down coastlines over the water. It's
Hmm.
flat there too.
Yeah, they're all going to be flat, other than the ocean.
Exactly. So For somebody to say that the Earth is curving, where's the curvature? That's what we want to find out. Where is it?
You're
Because it's
never
nowhere
gonna
to be
find it
found.
in a lake because you have turbulence
No,
in
we
the
did
water.
oceans, dude. Frozen lakes, no turbulence.
Well, frozen lakes is the same thing as a lake.
Yeah, with the hard sheet of
Really? So it's
ice.
frozen. It's frozen.
Right.
There's no turbulence, right?
You
Can't
have
be
a flat
turbulence. It's
lake. If you
frozen.
have a flat lake and you freeze it, it's still going to be flat. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When does
Yeah.
water curve?
It's not
How
going to
far
if it has.
away?
The only time you're going to get a water to curve if it does not have turbulence, other than the ocean.
Okay, so how far away on the ocean?
Very far.
How far? From a
I would have to
5 foot
research that
observer height, how
for
far?
you, but
We know what the claim is if Earth's a globe.
well, I don't know. Right? I
Yeah, but
don't.
Either like
you don't
so
have
many
to take our
acres
word
per
for it.
mile or something.
I'm
or
just saying I can't give you that. I don't know. You know.
Right. And we use water specifically because of the claim that gravity forms an equipotential around the surface of a ball. So mean sea level should be curved around a globe and should be at an average height.
The ocean.
Change the definition to that too.
So,
Like
right, so you
back
should
in
be able to
2019.
especially if it's frozen, be able to measure that deviation that is
Well,
consistent with a curving surface.
the interesting thing is, I think you kind of have to look away from lasers, and I would look more into radio waves, because
We've
radio
done that
waves
too.
cannot go through land.
Right. So we
I
have
agree.
people who are professional microwave installers
Mhm.
who've done the same thing.
Right, but why would you not be
Yeah.
able to send that to?
They establish what's called a Fresnel zone between point A and B over the surface of the Earth, whether it's land or water.
So if the ocean is flat,
The
and for
Fresnel
whatever
zone
reason,
doesn't bend.
right? So if the ocean is flat and
How about a
it's not
10,000
possible
mile? How about a 10,000 mile radio communication before there were any satellites
from land, like
from land?
from like
From UK to
ocean height,
Australia, dude.
right? From like ocean height.
Yeah, from UK to Australia.
Flat.
Or maybe during World War II when the Germans were crisscrossing beams to find hidden British uh, targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
would have
maybe
to look
when
at. That's what I'm saying. I don't think
maybe when the Titanic sank, the SOS signal was picked up 3,000 miles away.
Oh, that's a good one. We've also got high altitude infrared observations. Right. I mean, we've got observations of mountain ranges that should be 180,000 feet below the curvature horizon of a globe. But you can see it in infrared. Right. So the whole purpose of using infrared is to cut through the haze so you could see the curvature of the Earth pop out. Problem is, it looks even flatter. Where's the curve?
I see what's happening here with the radio waves.
What, they were bouncing it up the
Oh,
ionosphere?
Yeah, they didn't
right.
know
So,
about skywave propagation back then, and the time of
well,
day that they were doing it is not conducive to bouncing off the E and F layers.
so
And not
that's an
only
easy.
that, but the frequency that they or the wavelength that they used was 5 higher than what bounces off of the ionosphere.
I don't think so, dude. Not according to current claims. They used a
What's currently
very,
known.
very low frequency. High
It was
frequencies are
still
set to go through.
not high frequency. It was like, so bouncing off the ionosphere is between this frequency and this frequency, and he was like 5 kilohertz above that.
I don't
when
think
he
so,
made
dude.
his radio. I'll look into it. I'll pull it up.
Like we don't actually know exactly what frequency range he used. We have an idea. I think it's like 2 to 3 megahertz. I think might have been like
See, this would be something very difficult to prove with radio waves, just because they travel so fast. It would cost a lot of money to do it. But basically, what you would have to assume is that you would somehow have to. It would be hard to do it as a flat Earth, or you would have. Man.
no. What
Anyway,
you do is you build what's called a high gain antenna. Examples are Yagi or log periodic antennas. And you
yeah, but
also have a high gain receiver.
that's not the issue. That's not the issue.
Yeah, it
The
is. I
issue
mean,
is
this way you can narrow the beam and you can make it super thin, highly directional.
no, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if the radio wave was traveling straight in a straight line on a flat Earth from, let's just say, the United States to China, there would be, if you could calculate how long it would take to make that distance. So, and then you could do the same thing for it supposedly bouncing off the ionosphere and coming back to China. You could calculate that distance somehow, right?
Why
And you
calculate
would have
that when you can send like a song, right? Like you could play a song,
because
and then that song could be picked up from the receiver, and someone could say, "Yep,
be-
I heard that song."
well, that's not that's not what you're trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out whether it's on a flat Earth. It's not gonna you're not gonna hear it from the ionosphere and bounce down. You're gonna hear it in a straight line. It'll travel faster going straight to China. You see what I'm saying? Over the ocean. You would receive it faster than you would receive it if it was bouncing off the ionosphere and then back down, because it's a longer path. So you would have to calculate how long it would take to travel in a straight line on a flat Earth if it was traveling from the United States to China, and if it took longer than that, then that means it would be bouncing off the ionosphere and then back down and not traveling straight across. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you'd have to assume the distance from United States to
Right.
China,
And that's the issue is
and
we don't have a flat Earth distance.
well, there's a lot of issues with getting distances over water, right?
I think there is
There's
a
no
No,
there's
there's
no
not.
possibility.
landmarks.
No,
Well, the other issue
you're not
is
referencing a landmark.
the main issue is that the radio waves, from what I could see online, Google search, right? They travel at 180,000 miles per hour. So
Sec.
having some type of receiver that could decipher between milliseconds would be hard to find as well.
What you're describing is GPS.
No,
They
because
send the
your
time.
receiver, it's traveling so fast you would almost hear it if your ears were hearing it, you would hear it at the same time. If you were playing a song and you were sending a radio wave straight to China across the ocean, and it was also receiving it from uh, the ionosphere, right? Then, well, actually, hold on a second. Is there some way to make a cone of radio waves that did not go upwards? I don't know.
I
So
was
let me
just describing to you earlier, Deck, and you kept shooting me down. You need a
Yeah, but
high gain antenna and a high gain receiver from point to point.
the issue is like if you're pointing it straight across in a on a circular Earth, it's still going to hit the ionosphere. You know what I'm saying? It's
so
still
let me
eventually going to.
let me interject here real quick. The problem is even in your local town, your FM radio station is you tune it into your car. There's an effect called picket fencing to where you'll essentially receive the same signal a fraction of a second later because it's in theory bounced off a couple things. So the problem with any of this is that you really can't control the radio wave. If you want to call it a radio wave, you really can't control that signal between the transmitter and the receiver. That's the problem with any of this. Nobody knows exactly where it goes and where it was. All they know is that you receive it. So you can send it 3 times in a row and it could go a completely different path each time.
Yeah,
Right.
it's why
What
RF
I've
engineers spend a lot of time studying and surveying areas to find the optimal path. And a lot of times they'll say, F it, I'm just going to put up a big tower 300 feet high and put a microwave emitter on top.
Yeah. And the whole issue is like if you could send it straight across the ocean on a flat Earth to China, you would receive it faster than it going up, bouncing off the ionosphere, and then coming back down in some random direction.
Maybe
But you'd have
so,
to.
but that doesn't prove anything.
What I'm saying is, if you could calculate, I don't know if it's possible, how fast it would take the difference between those two.
Yeah, what you're describing are called echoes. I mean, they happen all the time. And I think that's what Barrington was also describing.
Yeah, but echoes also are plausible in a spherical, because if you're sending it straight up and it bounces down, it bounces across, versus going straight across the ocean. On a spherical Earth, if you shoot it straight across the ocean, it'll still go up to the ionosphere eventually.
Yes, but it would have to hit a
You would
specific
still have echo.
location in the ionosphere to bounce back down and hit a specific location on Earth. Do you agree?
Right.
It'd have to be
Right.
frequency dependent and time of day dependent and
That's
meteorologically dependent.
a lot of variables, honestly. But
Yeah, some of us understand this kind of thing, and
we
you know,
understand the implications.
right. The problem is we have wireless transmissions taking place before they even knew that there was such a thing that they call an ionosphere today, and that they were conducting these transmission tests during the time of day where it's not optimal for the signal to be bouncing in the manner that we would describe it having to do today with this knowledge, if you want to call it that. So how is it doing it? Right when the sun goes away, that's typically when these layers come out and you can bounce your beam off of them, skip the beam off of them, they say, right? But what if it's morning where it's supposed to be skipping and the transmission still has a path to its destination? Well, then that's kind of interesting.
By the way, Deck, I put a link in the side chat for you and tagged you a list of other long distance observations that include eyesight observations, laser observations, and radio wave observations.
all right, bet. Thank you.
Now, it is listed on Web Archive. The guy that was maintaining it, he just got tired of paying for the what you call it, the website, not the website, but the server. So he just backed it up on Web Archive.
When you said before you traveling over distance and knowing how far you've traveled or where you've gone is hard or like impossible to do. It's not. We have all sorts of modern instruments to do that like very easily.
Oh yeah, like
Like,
what?
well, thing that planes use all the time, inertial navigation system.
Yeah, how do they know how far they've traveled?
Because that's how the instrument works. It's measuring it
How?
with what is in how the inertial navigation instrument works.
Yeah, how? Yeah, why don't you tell us?
Yeah. So it's got a central gyroscope on the 3 axes of like sets of gimbals, and it's also kind of it's integrated with accelerometers and position sensors, so that it's maintaining kind of a level over the Earth. Because what
That doesn't
would
address how far
happen?
they've gone, dude. How far? How do you know how far they've gone?
that's how the accelerometers, position sensors, and the actual the gyro work in tandem. Like, they're
What if the
telling you
plane's
your
not
distance.
accelerating?
Yeah, that's where the position sensors come in, and like the
Position
attitude
sensors?
sensors. Sorry,
How do position sensors tell you how fast the plane is going?
no. So you've got attitude sensors,
Yeah, we're talking about
which,
distance travel, dude. Try to focus.
yeah, you said what if the plane's not accelerating? So why are you jumping between questions?
Yeah, no, I'm not, because you keep diverting away from the distance problem. You're trying to talk about attitude.
You said what if the plane's not accelerating? I
Right,
know
because
what
you
you're
said the
asking.
accelerometers could tell you like how far the plane is
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
Well, why don't you go give an example of that?
Because if the plane is in motion, right, the accelerometers are giving a reading as to the force the plane is experiencing.
What if the
Can
plane's flying
therefore,
at a constant rate of speed? Is it accelerating?
Yeah, or what about headwinds and tailwinds?
they're all part of the adjustment.
The adjustment, yeah. Can you be any more, bland
Vague.
with your descriptions?
Well, what? Okay, tell me, what are you asking?
For like the 10th time, I'm asking you how the plane knows how far it's traveled. You said we have all these systems to determine the distance that these planes travel over water. And I'm like, great. Why don't you give us a method? And, and what I'm hearing is anything but.
Like in a car, we have rotational speed of the wheel, right?
Yeah.
How do you measure speed in a plane?
Yeah, you're using inertial instruments.
Okay, so you're moving at a constant rate of speed, and it's as if you're not moving at all. Now what?
Yeah, and the accelerometer is reading that the plane is moving at a consistent velocity. Like, so what?
So zero.
No, because the accelerometer read that the plane was experiencing a force. Therefore, it's taking it from the last reference point that it's moving at a constant speed. Because to go back to zero, it would have to decelerate.
That's not an accelerometer.
Unfortunately, headwinds and
Oh, no,
tailwinds will fuck with you right here.
no, they don't, because it's all
Yeah, they do.
inertia. It's all inertia. It is all going to affect the readings from the accelerometer.
If you're
You've
supposedly flying
got
at 500 miles an hour and you get a headwind of 200 miles an hour, how fast are
yeah, you just take an X, Y, and Z direction and say, right, this is in what resultant direction I am heading as a result of this tailwind, as a result of my inclination or declination. Am I dropping altitude? Am I increasing in altitude? How
you? I
fast
have
am I
no idea what
going?
I asked.
Well, then you're asking random gibberish.
Well, you don't know you don't even know what I asked. Just a simple math problem, bro.
And I've just told you have got 3 axes of movement, haven't you?
Okay, so you're not going up in altitude, you're not going down in altitude, and you're not turning. You're moving in a linear path, and you're supposed to be going 500 miles an hour because you're at full throttle, but you have a 200 mile an hour headwind. How fast are you going?
You can work it out. I'm not solving a math problem here for you. Like, Yeah, you just use some trigonometry to determine a resultant speed. Like
Hey, what's 500 minus 200?
Sorry. Well, so we just say 300 then, whatever.
There you go.
Right? Is this productive? Like, what's your point?
Is it what?
What is your point?
If you don't have any land markers and you're out over the water and you can't tell how fast you're going, how do you know how fast you're going?
It's measuring it. That's how it works. Are you questioning the fact of whether it's measuring it?
You claim that there are all kinds of ways that airplanes can measure their distance between point A and B, and you brought up accelerometers. That's where we are right now, right? And then I'm like, well, what if you're flying in a steady like 100-mile-an-hour headwind? Your accelerometer reads 0, which is exactly the same as if you're flying in calm air. So how do you determine how much distance you've actually gained during that time that the accelerometer is reading 0?
No.
You know, and you're in a 100-mile-an-hour headwind.
Okay. If it really feels
Okay,
like I need to
yeah.
What?
Okay.
It really feels like an. Oh, what the hell? We're just 5 years old. Are you gonna like let me just respond?
Is this the day that you come in and you pretend like you have no past history with any of us?
So you're saying that you're specifically going to be ignorant because you've been butthurt in past sessions?
I'm going to be ignorant, but you don't deserve any respect. Not only that, but
right.
you're speaking gibberish.
You're still seething.
You're speaking gibberish.
Yeah, right.
You haven't said anything.
That planes do every single day all over the earth.
You don't understand how they're doing it, right? So because an
Yeah.
accelerometer is going to read 0
I'm sorry to
in
interrupt
steady
Yoder.
flight.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt Yoder. I want you to continue with what you were saying, but I came on to see did Deck have anything more to ask or say? But of course, Deck has left because Cosmic Nun, whatever he is today, has interrupted and derailed the conversation with the new person. Good job, gold medal for slitheriness. Go ahead, Yoder.
No, Deck left a while back, and Dandelion, we'll review it with you here in a little bit.
Yeah, you don't have to review it. He was here when Dude started blabbering. I came on and checked, and he left because he was bored, obviously. Because yeah. Go ahead, Yoder.
Yeah, I mean, final part here, and this is not refutable. So these accelerometers have a blind spot. As they read 0 in steady flight, they have no way of knowing if they're moving like 500 knots in calm air or 500 knots against a 100-knot headwind. The forces are going to be balanced in both cases, and you're not going to be able to determine how far the plane has actually flown. Okay.
Okay.
So,
right. I think we need to simplify it. So it's like, right. I have an accelerometer. Say in my car. I think most cars have. Like,
no, you can't use your car. Your car uses wheel rotation.
No, cars use a bunch of different instruments. I mean,
can you use an analogy with going from point A to B over water like you were initially supposed to defend?
I wrote my thesis on one of the types of sensors a car has that has nothing to do with wheel rotation. Well, it has something to do with wheel rotation.
This is all about getting a distance between like two cities across the ocean, which you said, airplanes have all these ways to consistently measure this. And then you brought up accelerometers, and then I shot you down. So that's where we are in this part of the conversation. If you want to move on to cars or something else, take the L, and we can move on to cars.
Because I feel like we need to simplify it. So it's like just
I made it super simple. I think the audience understands. If you don't, I can cut you loose right now.
Okay. If I'm walking, right? And I have an accelerometer attached to my body, right? The accelerometer from rest reads 0, right? I start walking. Okay, the accelerometer starts to read something. You know, it reads an acceleration, like a few meters per second acceleration or something like that. It then goes back down to 0 again, right? It reads 0.
Sure. Then we measure stride.
But from the accelerometer's point of view, what is the logical conclusion of what I am doing while it's still reading 0? Oh, it's an open question. What would the conclusion be inferred as a result of the accelerometer still reading 0?
I'm sorry, I fail to see the relevance.
Because we're building up to a plane, because I need to simplify this.
No, you don't need to simplify it for me, dude. I know more about this
I do,
topic than you
because
do.
you're not understanding this, so I need to
No,
simplify.
I am understanding this, okay? I know how air data inertial reference units work in airplanes.
Right. So this should be easy to understand, because I can bring it back to a
understand it, and
plane,
it's
but it's like
irrelevant.
you get very confused.
It's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant.
Okay, take a plane, right? Since you got upset when I talked about walking or using cars, right? You're in a plane. You take off, right? And let's just keep it fairly simple, right? And say that there is one accelerometer reading your acceleration parallel to the axis of the fuselage. So just call it your x direction. Right? If the initially at rest state we know it's 0. It takes off. Suddenly it starts reading acceleration going. Right. It then, when the plane reaches a constant speed, it returns to 0. Obviously, it's going at a constant speed, no acceleration. Right. What would the logical conclusion from point of view of the accelerometer be that the plane is doing? So you guys just don't know.
Brother, you think that we just sit in here all day and that we don't have jobs?
You don't seem to know.
Huh? I wasn't even listening to you because I'm still trying to figure out what other instrument are
Still
you
trying to
using
figure
if
out
the
what the
accelerometer
answer to the
reads
question
0.
is. You're still trying to figure out what the answer to the question is.
I don't
That's
even
why.
know what your
That's why
question
I'm
was.
saying. That's why I'm saying
You're
I
talking
simplified
irrelevant.
it.
Go ahead. What's your question?
The question was, as I said, right? What would the logical conclusion be to draw from the data from the accelerometer as to what the plane is doing?
If it reads 0 and you're in mid-flight, you're not moving at all.
It does. No. The accelerometer doesn't know you're in mid-flight. But what is the conclusion from the pilot reading the data?
You're not moving. That you're not moving.
No. Okay. No, sorry. I don't want to be condescending on that. It's the conclusion is that you're going at a constant speed because the accelerometer hasn't read any deceleration.
You don't need it to read deceleration.
How would it think that, or how would you think, looking at that data, planes come to a stop? You're not reading any deceleration.
You're a fucking moron.
That's your counter argument.
Show me a linear accelerometer. Post one in the chat right now. A linear accelerometer right now. Post in the chat.
What?
A linear accelerometer. Post one in the chat.
What do you mean? You can have
you don't even know your own argument. You don't even understand your own argument.
An accelerometer in one axis.
Yeah. So how do you know whether you're accelerating or slowing down? That's linear, right? You're going in a direction.
We agreed.
There's curvilinear, so you got a ring laser gyro, which measures the rotational acceleration. I want you to show me the linear accelerometer.
Why? What is it?
Because that's your argument. Because that's your argument. that the plane, the data, right, is that it's measuring that if it's going at a constant speed, it would not measure any output because there's no
Actually, I don't even know
acceleration.
how long have you been
Hold on,
listening, Indio?
Sheepdog. Don't not wait, Sheepdog. I want to know what device they're
Sheepdog.
measuring linear acceleration with in the first place. So you made up everything you fucking said. Everything.
No, I didn't.
Then show the device that they're measuring a linear acceleration with.
No, that's not necessary for the argument.
It is because that's what you said. You said there's a device that's
No.
measuring an acceleration.
Okay.
And if it's going at a constant speed, it's not measuring an acceleration. What device is that?
Yeah, I don't
What
care
device is
what
that?
the exact device is called. I don't care
Because
what
that
it's
device
called.
doesn't exist, dude.
I mean, this is
There's
the
no
thing
such
where you
thing
say
as a
it doesn't.
linear
No.
accelerometer. They don't exist.
Oh.
So
Do
you've
you
been
want- am I
bluffing
go-
and bullshitting and saying, I'm not going to be condescending. You're talking out your asshole the whole time.
No, this is the thing I find.
Yeah, no, I don't care what you find. I don't care about your
exist.
social commentary. Produce the device that measures, it says
Well-
the data. You said data. What device is sending out data that matches what you're saying?
What's worse than that, Indio? His whole argument
Exactly.
is saying
Shut the fuck up, Cosmic. Don't ever talk in here again.
he
Lying
literally
piece of shit.
used the argument that accelerometers measure distance travel over water.
Ugh.
That's where it started. It was worse than that.
There's something called an inertial navigation system, but that's not simply an accelerometer. In fact, it's not an accelerometer at all in the sense of measuring acceleration.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, Indio. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Yeah. I know. I just didn't want to let this dude off the hook. I'm already irritated because I just happened to click on, because I got the live stream in the background. I click on mute, and I hear freaking Dandelion spurging about this clown running interference.
I'm glad you liked spurging. It wasn't for nothing then. Got you in
it
here.
wasn't. And then I okay, maybe he actually has a point, and then it's just made up bullshit.
Well, he came in here, right, with this little sad puppy dog voice, I'm trying to be good, guys. And then it's like, no, don't act like you don't have a fucking
And then he's like,
history.
you guys can't answer my question. Of course we can't answer your question. Your made up fucking device that belongs on the state to Slay. So in an airplane, they measure acceleration with something called a pitot tube. Okay, that's what they measure the speed with. Yeah, okay, just post. Yeah, Cosmic, just post the device in the chat, and then we can talk about the data that you says exists. My question is, I just want to see how you guys can explain. What would the pilot think about the data? What fucking data? With what device? Talking out your ass. So just.
And then he tried to say that, since you don't understand accelerometers in airplanes, we'll talk about the accelerometer in a car. It's like, you're measuring wheel rotation, dude.
This is the problem, Sheepdog, is this person interacts with reality through a phone. So the little phone is like the window to his freaking made up reality. It's like, phone, man, it's got an accelerometer. If I drop my phone, man, it'll tell me its orientation. That must be what the plane's doing. Yoder tried to explain it to him. I heard him, but he's too dumb.
We've got Giga. Oh yeah, we've talked to Giga before. Welcome back, Giga. If you're the same Giga, I don't know. There could be more than one.
I think I'm the same Giga. I've been in here before.
Yeah. What did we talk about last time?
I think we talked about lasers and like a lake or something. To prove the Earth is flat.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about with Deck earlier. Also, yeah, it's a good thing to talk about. Yep, those lasers demonstrate there's no curvature. That's what they demonstrate. They, you could say they disprove the globe.
I thought the other day, though, I just kind of wanted to mention this. Is it possible that gravity bends the light as well, though?
Well, first you'd have to prove that your gravity is capable of having any effect on anything anywhere in some kind of objective scientific way. Are you able to do that?
Well, yeah, gravity absolutely affects light. That's why black holes are black, you know?
Oh, so you've got some proof of black holes for us. Yeah, post
Proof is
the
you can't see
verify
them.
post the verifiable, testable, repeatable scientific evidence with the experiment, with the testable hypothesis, the independent and dependent variable that can be manipulated. So how are you manipulating the independent variable in the case of black holes and light, as you claim?
How am I manipulating an independent variable?
Yeah, that's the question. Yep. What's the independent variable in your black hole proposition?
Is Earth a black hole now?
Light.
Shit.
Light would be the variable.
Well, let me tell you, Giga, even if the general theory of relativity was true and gravity bent light, the mass of Earth would only bend light 1/16 millionth of 1 degree. So now that ain't gonna do it. You're gonna need more bendy.
I forgot flat Earth. A lot of flat earthers don't believe in gravity as well.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't do what you need it to do.
It is odd though, Indio, that like the evidence for a globe is that everything looks flat.
Dandelion was on track with the black hole because we'd have to be living on black hole Earth.
It would kind of mean, too, if light was bent by gravity, that the stars in the sky aren't even where we're looking, you know?
They already say that anyway.
Since people have shot lasers across the Earth horizontally and got the same elevation at both ends of the laser light, that means that the light is curving at the exact rate that the Earth is curving. Are you saying that the Earth appears to be flat because the light is being bent into a flat view?
No, so the issue is with a laser beam, you're able to view a laser beam much further away than supposedly if the Earth is flat, right? Or sorry, if the Earth is curved, right? Backwards. Perhaps all I'm theorizing is that gravity bends the light coming from the laser, allowing it to go further.
That would mean you'd be able to see the laser at its location of start.
You wouldn't be able to see the starting point from the laser, but you'd be able to see the light bend around the Earth.
Okay,
Maybe that's
so
what people
you're
are seeing.
viewing the laser light. The laser light looks straight, right? Now, the Earth is curving, right? Now, the laser light that looks flat is going across the curved Earth, and it's curving at the exact same rate as the Earth. So now you're viewing a straight light or you're viewing a curved light as straight. So are you viewing the curved Earth and it looks flat because of it? Because regular light is not as intense as laser light, and the laser light looks straight as it curves at the exact same rate as the Earth does. Because the elevation on both sides of the beam across the large body of water or a large area of land, it's at the same altitude. Because if the laser light was straight and it was not being bent by Earth curve, but the Earth was curving, then the altitude of the laser light at the opposite end of the laser should be at a higher altitude because the ground is curving away from it, right? But you're saying that it's the exact same curve rate as the Earth. So then you're viewing a flat world. Gravity is causing the world to look flat.
Yeah, that kind of is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Kind of,
So
yeah.
you have to believe the opposite of your senses. And you have to bend over backwards to make your senses make sense.
I don't think it's really bending over backwards. It's just understand that, light is made of photons and those can be affected by gravity.
Well, what you just agreed to is that the world looks flat, but it's not actually flat. To the extent that laser light is now bending at the same curvature rate as the surface of the Earth because of gravity. You're accepting that you will never see, ever, the curve of the Earth, but it's there.
Yeah, I'd really like to do some of these laser tests myself.
Do it. Scrutinize it as to your heart's content. Do you know the rate of curvature or the distance to the horizon, or how to calculate the distance to the horizon with the radius value that they've given you?
No, I remember it's like so many inches per mile or something. I don't remember exactly. Like what?
The distance to the horizon with a radius value of 3,959 miles is 1.2 times the square root of the observation height in feet. So if you're 1 foot above the water and you look out in front of you with the radius value they've given you, the horizon where things disappear should be at 1.2 miles. If you're at 6 feet, should be about 3 miles. If you're at 30,000 feet, because you want to be in a plane, that's about 218 miles. If you're at 44,000 feet, that's 250 something miles.
You kind of got to do the laser tests at sea level for them to be valid,
Yeah, because I mean, the
Absolutely.
sea level is the basis for all horizontal, altitude reference, right? Sea level being 0 on that baseline, and any altitude above that being,
Have you ever been
above
on the
sea level.
ocean in the ship?
Yes, I've been
Sure
on a boat.
It sure looks flat out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, and at certain times of the day, if the sky and the ocean match the same color, you don't even see a horizon line.
Well, hey, Giga, I'm going to tag you in a video that I'm putting in the chat for you to watch.
Sure.
This is a flat Earth explanation of what refraction is, why they're using refraction. It's a good little explanation. It's like 4 minutes.
Okay, yeah. This is kind of what we were trying to talk about. I've never done any of these tests myself, so I'm not really speaking from experience.
No, that's fair. It's odd that, you're not speaking from experience on the test and you're not speaking experience on the globe. But you choose to defend the globe, which tells you the
Yeah,
opposite of what your senses are telling you
like
anyway.
most people, I've never been to outer space, and I've never just seen the Earth, so I can't really,
Well, let me ask you this.
Is
What's
that
the
the only way
idea?
you can
What
figure?
makes you go
Sheepdog,
ahead?
this is important. Is that the only way you can figure it out? Is to go to outer space? It's the only option available.
I think that's the only way you could actually know.
So
You need to
you're
see
not.
it.
So nobody's ever gonna know except for the 27 Apollo dudes. Everybody else
Yeah,
just has
and
to
people
believe
in the
them.
space station and people that's been to
Well, they
space.
can't see. Well, hold on. They only see 3% of the Earth, so we can't rely on them.
Well, they could see that, many of the continents are on the back of the Earth,
They only see 3% of the Earth from the elevation of the space station. 3%. That's if they could see the entire circle of the horizon, which they can't. They can only see a little slice of it, right? So we can't rely on them. They don't see the Earth as a globe. So the 27 Apollo astronauts, that's it. We're putting all our chips on and what they fucking say. That's not the good bet. I wouldn't take that bet, bro.
I would like to
That's
see
not
it
the
for
only way
myself.
we can do it, though. We don't have to go why I don't understand why people get this idea where you have to go far away from the thing you want to know about to figure out what it is. If you wanted to know if,
You know,
like, you had a table and you want to know if it was square, would you frickin' walk a mile away and look at it? Or
I would
would
if
you
I was
just
an ant.
wouldn't you just measure the table?
I mean, if I was an ant, I'd probably walk away from it and look at it.
If you were an ant, but you can measure it. So you're an ant with a tape measure.
or a
Right.
laser.
I
That's
don't
the
have a
thing
tape
about the
measure that
laser
can
test
measure the whole
because they're
world, though.
measurements of the surface of the Earth. Because we can just measure the laser height. And the Earth should be curving away from the laser. Right? If the Earth's a ball, it curves away from the laser. And that the laser and the
I,
Earth should get further and further apart with distance.
I gotta add this real quick, Indio.
Yeah, go ahead, Sheep.
Giga. The idea that you could become an astronaut and go do the things that they say astronauts go do, right? First of all, you'd have to be selected for a pilot program in like the Air Force or the Navy. And then from there, you'd have to be selected to go into astronaut. And then from there, you'd have to be selected to go on a mission. So there's a lot of selection processes that go on. Most people don't even make it to the astronaut training part.
Yeah, because you'd have to be
Regardless
really
of how good.
dumb. You have to be really dumb to be an astronaut, right? That's what I've observed. Look at Don Pettit. Most people aren't dumb enough to be astronauts. I totally agree. They wouldn't pass the first initial intelligence test because they would score too high.
Hey, dude, you know what you should do? And this happened recently. This happened on December 1st. There's a guy named Danny Jones, and he has a YouTube channel. And there was a debate between an Apollo astronaut and Bart Sibrel, who made a documentary called Astronauts Gone Wild, where he would ask the astronauts to swear on the Bible that they went to the moon. And instead of doing that, they either ran or took a swing at him. Most of them ran. Only one person took a swing at him. So anyway, the point is that Bart Sibrel and a guy that says, I went to the moon. You should go watch that. And go tell me if you think that guy actually went to the moon. Based upon his responses. Because he brings up something that they said that, like, you couldn't go to the moon with one rocket. So they said it at the time. They've said it even now. They're still saying it. They're saying that in order to go to the moon, you need like 15 rockets. Because you need a rocket you need to put your rocket in orbit, and then you need cargo ships basically to bring fuel up for that rocket to go from the Earth to the moon. And this is what they've been saying when they actually do the math. This is what the math says that they have to do. So they bring this up to this astronaut, the guy that says, I went to the moon, and he just goes, well, they never told us that. Hey, what about the Van Allen radiation belts? Well, they never told us about them, so I guess they, You so, like, things don't kill you if you don't know about them now? That's convenient. But, I mean, the point is that, before you rely on these people as, like, credible witnesses or anything like that. I don't know why you would do that anyway, because like SheepDog pointed out, they're all in the military, especially back then. You might want to, if you watch that, I guarantee you're going to be like, what the hell? There's no way that people went to the moon. And if there's nobody went to the moon, you got to think nobody has seen the Earth in its entirety. With their two eyeballs, right? So how do you even judge any image of somebody showing you the Earth, right? Because you've never seen the Earth in its entirety. You can't even judge the image. And that's where we're at, right? So why should we rely on that garbage evidence, right? Of trusting this guy, trusting this image, when we can just measure
Are you
the Earth
saying
and
that
know for
satellites
certain.
don't exist?
They exist in what sense?
That we've put satellites into
Who's we?
orbit
You're
and they
not one
have
of them,
cameras
dude. You're
on them
not a
that can see the
spaceman.
Earth? You have
You're
never
not a
seen those live
spaceman.
streams from
There's no
cameras?
we. There's no we, dude. You're not a spaceman. You didn't do anything.
I don't need to be a spaceman to know that we have satellites
There's
in
no
space.
we, dude. There's no we.
I've literally seen it with my own two eyes.
Yeah,
I've
but
seen
you didn't
satellites
do
every
anything.
night. You go
We
look up
don't
at the
have
sky, you can
satellites.
see
You
satellites.
okay? How
With
do you
your
know
own eyes,
How do
you
you
can
know
see
they were orbiting the
satellites.
Earth? Okay. How do you know they're orbiting the Earth?
I don't understand the logic here.
I'm going to ask you a question. How do you know the little light you saw in the sky is orbiting the Earth?
When do
What
you
else
think?
would it be doing?
That's not asking me a question doesn't tell me how
You know
it's
how many
something orbiting
objects
the
are
Earth.
orbiting the Earth now? There's like countless thousands
Yeah,
of
so
man-made objects orbiting the
so
Earth.
check this out, bro. So check this out. Astronomers recently released a study. They went over now this is in the Astronomical Pacific. It's an astronomy journal. They looked at old photographic plates from before satellites, and you know what they found? Satellites. How did they find satellites before satellites in 1947, before Sputnik?
There's ancient technology up there. Pre-flood antediluvian technology up there too. The work of fallen angels. Yeah.
Oh my lantern.
That's also really
People
interesting.
before the
That's also
flood
really
put
interesting to think about
satellites
is that
around
there
the
is
Earth. This
antediluvian
is the
satellite.
hope you want to come up with?
The trebuchet method of orbiting freaking. You sure they didn't orbit monolith?
Have you heard of the Dark Knight satellite?
Have you heard of?
That's an instance of one of those.
Have you heard of the Anunnaki? They genetically altered human beings to dig gold so they could bring it back to freaking Beta Reticuli.
Yeah, that's a lie from Satan. But yeah, go ahead with that.
That's a lie from Satan, dude.
It is.
The globe is a lie from Satan, brother.
They're fallen angels, and they've been deceiving mankind for a very long time.
The globe is a lie from Satan.
What's an angel?
It's a way to sidetrack you from believing in
okay, so why?
Oh, he's one of those. Okay, yeah. Flat Earth is a sidetrack. Yeah, rethink your whole life, please, sir.
Why did God create a reality from which you can't perceive that? Oh, shut up. Why did God create a reality that is completely deceptive, right? The Earth looks flat, but it's not really flat. And it seems stationary, but it's not really stationary. And then he wrote it, and then he had the prophets write it down in the book called the Bible. And they also said the Earth was flat, like clay pressed into a sphere. Why are you talking over me the entire time I'm talking? You can
There's a new interferer. There's a turbo dick coming in. Yeah, so we're back to Giga, and Indio's asking a question. You probably couldn't hear it because a guy was rudely interrupting and derailing. So maybe you want to just give him. I don't know. Did you hear it, Giga? The question.
I just went and got a Coke Zero. I just got back.
Oh. Can you repeat it, Indio?
I don't even remember what it was, quite honestly.
Yeah, it's the same question you've asked it many times about, like, why would God be a trickster type thing?
Oh, yeah. I was kind of talking to Turbo, though. So, yeah, why would God create a reality which was tricking us and just not real? That's not what it really is.
Oh, was Turbo the guy who claimed that flat Earth was a trick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got confused. My bad. I don't know who muted Turbo, but you can unmute him if you want. I didn't know that you were asking him that.
He doesn't need to. He just talked over. He just talked through me anyway. So
okay.
I thought Turbo was saying that the globe model is a trick.
He said
Satan.
He said we made satellites, and then he started talking about the Black Knight because the thing that he thinks is satellites that he saw in the sky. Like I don't know if you heard this. They really about like a month ago, an astronomical journal said they went over photographic plates before there were satellites, and they saw satellites, which don't make sense, right? If they're man-made artificial satellites put in the orbiting the
I've never believed in the round Earth more than when I saw a satellite train being deployed. Like,
what do you mean by man-made / artificial?
So you think that those? So you think that you saw a bunch of Starlink satellites? So you saw a refrigerator from 250 miles away?
Damn.
You got good eyes, bro.
I sure did. They were bright in the sky.
Because they say if you saw 5 lights in the sky, that's a satellite train? Because that's what they said on TV? Like, serious?
Well, there weren't stars.
There's a lot of things with these satellite things is that upon further inspection, what they say is possible actually isn't possible. It can't possibly be what they say it is. It can't be a freaking refrigerator 250 miles away that you can see. It's pretty far. Like, I don't know. Think about something that's 250 miles away from you by land. And how long it takes to drive that far. And now imagine there's a refrigerator in that place. And do you think you can see it?
Well,
Like
all
that'd
I
be like
could
the
see was the
refrigerators
bright
in like
light.
Philadelphia. That'd be like seeing a refrigerator in Philadelphia from Boston.
It was just a bright light.
Yeah, it was just a bright light. And that's all they are. Like that's all people see. They see a bright light, it transits the city. You have no idea how high they are, how fast they are, if they're orbiting or not orbiting. That's why when people say we, it tweaks me because they don't have nothing to do with any of that shit. They saw a light and adopt a story and adopted a belief in a story, and now somehow it's their story too. This is like it's like your football team winning the Super Bowl. You're like, we won the Super Bowl. No, you had nothing to do with it. You're just a freaking person looking at the TV that somehow identified with some sports team. And that's what it is. They're just identify. Oh, I'm part of the spaceman. No, they're not spacemen. You're not a spaceman. There's no we in any of this shit. And actually, Crip pointed that out that they like if people are like projecting themselves as spacemen, like their they got it's part of their identity. Like, this is the space age. We're all gonna go to Mars. No one's going to fucking Mars. And I just told you, really, dude, I really highly recommend go watch that Danny Jones video. Okay, so they have. Okay, so there's a guy from a YouTube channel called Smarter Every Day. His dad works for NASA. This guy grew up with being around NASA people his entire life. Okay. He did the calculation on going to the moon. 15 rockets, dude. Werner Braun said 3 rockets, all bigger than the Empire State Building. Elon Musk has said something like 15 starships to go to the moon. Oh, he deafened. Fantastic. Just talking to myself.
We heard you.
I had to mute that. Another guy tried to come in and run interference. I have a sneaking suspicion these are collaborators with Giga. That he's actually not alone.
Yeah, I don't know. We've talked to him before. I can't really remember how it went. I just remember his name. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking at the screen. I got confused when he started doing the religious argument. I thought that was the same guy. Usually I'm decent at distinguishing voices, but maybe I'm losing my touch. Could happen.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's the universal whininess of Gen Z. It just all sounds the same.
I think so. I seriously just thought that was the same person the whole time. Yeah, there's actually been studies about that. I don't know if you've seen that people's voices in general are becoming more robotic because they're so used to one, listening to a bunch of robots talk to them, and two, training their voice, like if you're using voice to text, or I guess people talk to their robots in their house. I don't talk to my robot, but I don't have a robot in the house to talk to, but I know people do. But my point is they've learned, you have to talk in a certain way for the robot to understand. So then they just are generally becoming more robotic. There was an article and study about that. I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, it's been a couple of years since I read that. I'll have to look for it.
Actually,
so
I first noticed people using that voice to text like 5 years ago. I'm like, people actually use that crap? Like a lot of people use it. It's actually shocking. Like some people only use that exclusively. All they do is talk to their phone. Like
I use it
right?
sometimes. I don't mind using
use it
yeah.
There's some people that's all the only way they interact with their phone is like talking to it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, we had Teddy Ruxpin, man. We didn't have that. You could talk to your Teddy Ruxpin. You pretended to talk to you. I guess the phone pretends to talk to you.
Yeah, people's imaginary friends. Yeah, talk back now. Yeah, it's a new world.
And it's always listening, right? So you're gonna stub your toe. My toe, and they're like, rub some alcohol on it. Use a Band-Aid made by Band-Aid brand. $3.99 down at the local Walmart. It'd be good advertisement for your wound. I think I just gave him an idea. Shit.
Add it to your list of ideas.
Yeah, they're gonna work it into like people ask ChatGPT for this information, and then they're just gonna work in advertisements. Did you see that OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT, is now partnered with Disney?
I did not know that.
You're gonna be able to make Disney like AI generated content using the actual Disney characters, and it won't be like copyright infringement. Now Disney owns shitloads of like intellectual property. They own the entire Star Wars franchise. They own all their like Disney cartoon animated characters, but they own a lot of other stuff too, like the intellectual property rights. So get ready for some Disney freaking pornography because people are obviously going to twist it, and it's going to be unstoppable.
Which Ray Bradbury story was it where it opens on him like wandering, the main character is like wandering through the streets, but like he's the only one outside because everyone else is just like glued to their screens inside? I can't remember. When it came out, it was like unusual, right? That was like a futuristic view, right?
Yeah.
Which one is that? Is that Fahrenheit 451? I don't think it is. I think it's a different one.
No,
Yeah.
it's not Fahrenheit 451. That's the book burner guy. Or the fireman. Great fire.
Yeah.
Cheating his books. I can't remember the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I haven't read it since then. Giga is back. Were you asking Giga a question? Hi, Giga.
Give me a chance to see if he's alive in there.
Yeah. Is that an eagle on his
I never understand
PFP?
the position of like
Or is it a phoenix?
I'll actually never know what the Earth is because the only way you can tell is to go to space.
And those guys are so like shady and like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they should be forced to like actually watch those guys talk. Like you said, like the guy who's in the interview, he sounded like a clueless person who had no idea what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is your hero that's telling you what your world is like. The one in the interview we were talking about. We should post that link for him. Did you post the link? Yeah.
No, but I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, because everybody who's relying on the so-called astronauts to give them their worldview should totally be forced to like listen to some of these guys actually speak and say, oh, does he sound like a real sharp, trustworthy dude there? Yeah, so you're gonna just put your life in his hands. Yeah, let me know how that works out for you. Old dude says it's called The Pedestrian. I never would have remembered that's what it's called. I think it was like maybe it was in like a short story anthology or something. The Pedestrian, Ray Bradbury.
Yeah, it was a short story, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, this is it. Yeah, The Pedestrian. Thank you, old dude. It's a 1951 Ray Bradbury short story about Leonard Mead, a man who enjoys solitary evening walks in a dystopian future where everyone else stays indoors, mesmerized by television, making his behavior seem deviant and suspicious to the automated police. Totally. Yeah, this is our life now. Thank you, old dude.
So, Gig, I posted a link to that interview. Yeah, this should be eye-opening to anybody. Just think about your own experience and like you've gone somewhere like say a movie. Like, hey, dude, tell us what was it like going to the movie theater? And then you would tell the story like from your first person point of view about what you experienced. These guys never do that. Even if they talk about the experience, they'll say things like they'll describe the experience as like they'll say things like Chris Happier used to do this all the time. Earth from that vantage point, you see, or they don't even say you. They say the expanse is wide and broad, and and it will leave quite the impression. They don't even say like none of it is like in the first person. They talk about it as if they're reading like from like a generalized universal experience, not from a personal experience, which is very strange. Because if you actually did that in real life, you'd be freaking blown away.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, because that is, their role as they either see it or have come to just embrace it so wholeheartedly, they don't even realize it is their role, is to, define the worldview of a generation. And that guy, that's what he seemed like in that interview. He was so clueless. Like he was not ever used to having any kind of, real-time pushback at all. You know what I mean? Like he'd never personally talked to anyone who like didn't believe his story. It was very odd. Like,
well, he talked to Bart. Even Bart was like, "I called you 10 years ago." Like, so he's talked to this guy before. They're not strangers.
That is weird. I didn't know that. That I guess I missed that part. That's really interesting that he's even talked to him before, but he acted like, you're not just accepting this fairy tale as true. Like, what? I can't even believe it. He seemed like that was just out of his realm of experience. You're just supposed to believe the story because I thought everybody was under a spell here, guys. What happened?
Wasn't he in his house whenever he told him to get out?
I don't know if it was that one. Maybe. I don't know if it was that guy. I don't think it was this guy. So that guy, no, I think that dude was. This guy went on one of the last. It's supposed he went on like the last one or the second to last one. 18 or I don't freaking know. But it's very. I mean, all you got to do is watch it. You can know instantly this guy is just like he's acting. He's just like playing a role. It's easy to tell. And like they didn't give him like an extensive script. And this is what I was talking to talking to Dandelion and a couple others about this. It's like, so it was a psyop on the American public and the world. Who maintains the psyop? Like, what happens when all these people die off? Who keeps it going? Did they like pass the torch to some other people? Keep this moon hoax going, guys. I know you weren't even alive when we started it, but it's your duty to keep the moon hoax going.
Well, I think that's why they have the. We'll go back next year. We'll go back 5 years. We'll move it to 10.
Yeah, I think the moon landing was propaganda designed to scare the Soviets. Like, oh, if we can land a rocket on the moon, we can definitely land a nuclear weapon on you.
I think the Soviets and the United States are just both bullshit, quite honestly. And that they just want to control their domestic populations. And they have a lot of, like, every nation has that one thing in common. They do not want the rabble to grab their torches and pitchforks and take over. So you keep them distracted with bullshit. Bread and circus. We're great. We have a space program. We're just, I mean, there's other things to this. I mean, I wish Yoder didn't leave because there's unclassified documents that says NASA, like when it was created, that the purpose was to create the impression that we were so technologically superior that no one would go against us. It was completely made as a psyop. That's where it started, as a psychological operation. In their founding documents. Yoder has them all. He's not in here right now, but I'm sure they're in our DMs. But I mean, that alone, that the documents have said that we're not actually doing anything. We're just making people think something. That's it. I'm joining.
Breaking in, I gave Tactical Droid this stack of documents, Indio. He can post like all the PDFs. Those aren't all the PDFs actually, but most of the PDFs I posted for him, so he can re-host them here. I gotta go though. I can listen.
All right.
Yeah, I've got one that's still wanting to load. 5918 is taking longer to load than the rest.